Argylle. Released February 2, 2024. Directed by Matthew Vaughn. Written by Jason Fuchs. Starring Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell. Rotten Tomatoes score, 37%. IMDb, 6 out of 10. Metacritic, 37. Welcome to Real Reviews. It is me, Lee, back again after watching another movie. First things first. I don't agree with the average of the critics' reviews. This isn't a life-changing movie, but it is a movie that understands what it is. That makes it average. What is the movie? It is Stranger Than Fiction meets Mr. Right. It is Bedtime Stories meets Born Identity. There are admittedly some pacing problems where the movie just kind of loses its steam. Once it starts with the twist, it does try to keep going, which does reduce the impact of each one that follows. But let's talk about it. Have you seen a Sam Rockwell movie where he is being his special brand of serious meets comedy? That is what you will get here. If you liked it before, you will like it here. Rockwell is a very consistent actor, and this movie is no different. He does a fantastic job with his character. Bryce Dallas Howard is also pretty solid in her lead role. Honestly, her character must have been a pain, because the character is specifically designed in one way, and then in the last 30 minutes or so is a completely different character. What about Henry Cavill, I hear you saying? He does fine, but he isn't in the movie much, but the role he is works for him. John Cena is much the same, where his moments on screen are good, but he isn't there often. Bryan Cranston does a pretty solid job as well. Since his time in Breaking Bad, he often gets cast a bit cold, and this role is no different, but we do get a few hints of Hal from Malcolm in the Middle as well. Catherine O'Hara certainly pulls in some of the traits of some of her older roles like Home Alone. There wasn't any main character that I felt did a bad job at what they were doing, but there are plenty of moments that don't hold up to the quality that is being put out. Writing is uneven in many ways. This movie starts as pseudo-ice guy. It leans into some of the ridiculous tropes you would see in other spy media. It plays several of them up as a joke, which works and is fine because Bryce's character Ellie is completely out of her element, so everything is pretty nuts for her, and Rockwell's character Aiden is doing his best to follow some rules we don't even get to hear about until around the halfway point. Actually, one of the problems is the rules of the world. Ellie is following the rules she is given. Writer who wrote Too Close to the Truth thrown into the world of espionage and frantically trying to just not die. But Aiden gives us and Ellie one set of rules, which is to use her to find the information he needs to uncover a super-secret cabal, and that is all completely true until about the halfway point. It does a good job balancing the humor of the fish out of water and the expert being a team, but then we start getting to the twist, and they aren't bad twists. They work because there are things early on that make sense with the twist, so it feels like if you thought hard about it that you could have easily figured it out before. Then it goes into the next twist and quickly into the next twist, and you don't really get much time to take it in before the next one happens. The last third of the movie is where it gets weird, kind of fun, and kind of bad. It goes from being a mostly seemingly realistic spy movie to completely off the rails silly, and it doesn't really ever come back from that. Luckily, without giving it away, I can let you know how to know exactly when this happens. The screen is filled with computer-generated smoke of colors so bright that it doesn't fit with any artistic choice made for this movie up to this point. The cinematography is fine. The scenes where it is off are the scenes where it makes sense. Usually that is because of overuse of computer-generated scenes. These can very well leave you feeling a bit off, but generally it quickly fades. There is a blinking tool used in the movie that works and seems pretty well done. Is it worth a watch? I can hear you already because even the review feels uneven, which is the movie's fault. Well, if what I have described here sounds like your cup of tea, then sure. But waiting also wouldn't be the worst idea. The theater I was in had a decent number of people, and there wasn't a moment where everyone was laughing or gasping or anything. It doesn't hit hard or accurately for any one emotion. It is 50% a well-written movie, 17% confusing, and 33% a mess. And I don't think that the part that is well-written really stands up well to what doesn't work, and even the acting, which I did enjoy, wasn't enough to get over the odd writing in the end. I would probably give it a 4.5 or 5 out of 10. I am not mad about seeing it. I am not wowed by what I saw, but I will also likely never watch this movie ever again. If you have enjoyed this review, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. As more and more movies, TV, and video games come out, real reviews will become more prevalent. I know I have at least one a week for the whole month of February. I typically have at least 2 videos released per week. Thursdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time are the guaranteed times.